It is Wednesday, June 1st. I'm Annette from Annette's Acre. This is my puppy Duchess. Say hi, Duchess. She is a miniature schnauzer, and she is one of two that we currently have. So, you okay? She's a sweetheart. All right. So she's my puppy. Go ahead and lay down. Oh, there you go. All right. So it's June. Can you believe how fast 2016 has gone? I just can't believe it that May is gone and we're into June and holy cow, it's just amazing how things have gone. So I didn't do a video on the weekend. Things were really busy, and I'm actually on vacation this week. My husband is in California working though, so there will be sadly no background music for today's video because I'm I'm basically home. My son is here, but he's not the musician that Mike is. So no music today. That'll wait for the next video. So I did one. I didn't do one on the weekend. It was also obviously really close to the end of May. So we're only a couple days left of Maynia. So I figured I'd just wait until today, where I could show all the rest of my May progress, which was pretty good, as well as talk about what the plans are for June. Addition in my piles that are surrounding me, I've got a pile of older finishes over the past few years to show, and then just a tiny little bit of stash that came in the last 10 days since the last time we did our video, and a couple stories to go with it. So that will be good. So this weekend, I'm not doing my vacation very well this year because I always take the week off before Phoenix Comic Con. Phoenix Comic Con is scheduled for this weekend, and technically for me, it starts at 6 o'clock tonight. So this weekend has been kind of crazy, not only getting ready for being gone the entire weekend, which obviously is not very uncommon for me. I'm gone, 3 or 4 days at a time anyway. But this is a little different because kids are going with me, and I'm trying to coordinate Mike's schedule because he flies in on Thursday, so I have to make sure I can get him at the airport. And then all the other things that you can imagine I have to cram into the time that I'm home, like doctor's appointments and, seeing friends. I had lunch with a friend that I used to work with yesterday. But it's just been a very busy week, so I'm not doing this whole vacation relaxing thing very well. I actually didn't sit down last night to stitch on my last whip of Maynia until 8 o'clock last night. So I'm hoping I can get stuff wrapped up at least before noon today so that I can get today's started, which I'll show you. But I still have to not only finish this video, I'm going to do a second video on my floss tags that I make, but that one will be quick. And I have to finish packing. Like I said, I'm leaving at essentially 5 o'clock today. I have to finish that packing, finish some laundry, do some other odds and ends of things, pack my con bag. I work with guests at Phoenix Comic Con, so I always have a bag stashed with everything from aspirin to dental floss to Sharpies. I mean, just kind of a wide gamut of things. You never know what people are going to ask for, so I try to be as prepared as I can. So I've got to take care of that. It's going to still be another crazy day, but I'm hoping to get at least a couple hours that I can work during the day, and then I will take stitching with me that I can work on tonight after my commitments today downtown. So that being said, let's get into the Maynia whips. So when last we left our heroine, I was getting ready to pull floss for my next Maynia whip, which was Soda Stitch, Movies in My Memory. This I'm doing Scarlet and then Rhett as well next to it. I obviously had the patterns, I had fabric cut, but I hadn't pulled the floss. So I did that and found that I didn't quite have everything, but I had enough to get started, so that's what I did. So I packed her up on the plane and she went with me. They went with me on the plane. So here's where I got to. So I got quite a bit done on Scarlet. Quite a bit. Lots of white, which is not showing up real well. Let me see if I can if I put something behind it. If the white, if you can see the white a little better. Yeah. So I got quite a bit, and stitching on the plane was it was pretty easy. This is wonderful linen. This is a 32 count cream something Belfast. It's the one that's basically printed with the modeling on one side, and then it's plain on the other side. Great to work on. Great to work on. The funny story though was, so for all of May, I've stitched on the plane every time. So every Monday morning and then Thursday afternoon, I'm working on something on the plane, right? This was the only one that a flight attendant said, "Oh my gosh, what are you working on?" All the other projects that I've been on, they couldn't care less. This one, though, now granted, the chart is huge. It's, you can see it's huge. So it takes a little coordination, and I was in the window seat that Monday morning. But yeah, this was the only one that the flight attendants took an interest in. And what they were doing was trying to figure out what all the figures were, and trying to place them in movies. So, but anyway, this was easy to work on. I can't wait to go back to her and get Rhett started as well. So that one's not going to be hanging out very long. The next piece, so that got a couple days, and then the next piece I picked up was my Ink Circles Tropic of Cancer, which is one of the Roll Your Own mandalas from 2014, I think. So here's where I got to. I can't show you the chart because it's just a pattern. It's just a chart. But here's where I got to. Before I'd done essentially the black outline and just a tiny bit of the purple. So I did the rest of the purple, I filled in all the orange, and then I just started on the green. You can see the green just started in there. And as a reminder, this is the palette. This is the total color palette. So I've got lots of greens to do, and then there's a little bit of yellow and a tiny bit of pink. This is the Halloween colorway. So really good progress. Very happy. This is a quarter of the design, so this will be repeated around the circle. Okay? Tropic of Cancer. Another one that some of the stuff, I don't know why I ever put it down. I mean, it's just, this is great. So that'll be coming back soon. The next piece that I started on, let me check my list. On the 28th, which was Saturday. I started on Saturday, was Stitchy Box. This is the Smyrna and Islets. This is Mini Twist number 1 from Northern Expressions. And Saturday was really busy. Really busy. Did not sit down to even think about this until well after 7 o'clock. So not a huge amount of progress. But I did get that top eyelet done in the corner of the race stitch, and then a cross stitch band, and started on the eyelet band. So not a huge bit, but it went pretty quickly. So again, this one will be easy to come back to. I kept it on the Q-snap because it's just a lot easier to see the stitches. On Sunday, I had a bit more time. I actually really decided to take time to be quiet and spend some time with my husband, who flew out on Monday. So he was flying out on Monday. So we had a bit of a midsummer day. We really enjoy Midsummer Mysteries, which is on Netflix. It's a British mystery, British procedural. Say that fast. So we've seen all the episodes, but it's fun. They're just really fun to watch. So we watched quite a few. And Sunday's project was Mirabilia Easter Fairy. I want to say I took a picture before I started, so if I did, it'll magically appear in one of these corners. If not, sorry. I wasn't very far. I only had a little bit of the basket done. But I made excellent progress. I finished all of the one of the yellows in her dress because I was getting a little worried I was going to run out. Now, I didn't get this as a full kit. Of my dear friend Melanie stitched this and said, "Hey, I've got almost enough threads," so I actually got the remainder of the kit from her. And I did add threads for skin, which you haven't seen yet, but that was the only thing I've added. So the yellow that I used, when I say I was running out of yellow, the full skein did essentially two stitches of this design, so not bad at all. But finished off the yellow. I added in the blue. I did a little bit of the basket bits, but not a whole lot. So excellent progress. I also have been watching Vanna and some of her videos that she's put in. I've followed Vanna for quite a while for her finishing work, and she's just now started doing YouTube or FlossTube videos, which is great. But I also started looking at videos that she did last year for how she stitches. And since I stitch in hand more often than not, the whole point down, needle up doesn't work well for me. I use it when I'm using like a Q-snap. But the other thing that she had pointed out was how it was thread heaven. Now I've had thread heaven in my stash for years, and I'll pull it out when I'm working on like with Kranic or a metallic because it's the bomb with that. It just makes everything go much smoother. But I hadn't really used it on regular threads. I just didn't. Well, when I picked up Easter Fairy, and it's all crescent colors, which are not bad to work, or what are they called now? Classic Colorworks. I forgot. Sharon told it. Which are not bad to work with at all. They're one of the really good cotton. But I thought, just give it a try and see if I can tell a difference. And yes, I can totally tell a difference working with the overdyed, the Colorworks threads when they've been treated with Thread Heaven. Yeah, I will definitely be using that for all as much as possible. I'm not quite ready to use it for all my DMC, but I might try it out and see how it goes. But yeah, the reason I got as much progress as I did, part of the reason I got it was because I had no issues with tangling or knots or anything, which I know is a lot of Thread Heaven's fault, I guess, or benefit. So good progress there. And then last whip, number 15 for Maynia, was a new start, and it was Sew to Stitch, The Little Kingdom. And again, sadly, Monday, and as I already mentioned yesterday, very busy with trying to get everything done. But I did get my horse and the beginnings of a carriage from the center area of the chart. So this one and the movies in my memory are the first Sew to Stitch designs that I have done, and I really like them. They don't have a huge number of colors, but they have enough to be interesting and to show, and to make a really good picture. So I did this guy. Here's where I'm at. Oops. Here's where I'm at. So I am not going to do the alphabet. I don't know why it's there. I mean, I know why it's there, but I'm not going to do it. So I'm going to drop the alphabet from this. But again, this is just on a piece of 28 count something. It's probably Jobelin because I know I have big pieces of 28 count Jobelin in my stash. So That's what that is. So that's it. Those are the last whips for the last 10 days for Maynia. So really happy with that progress. I've found that the sales are great for coming up with planning and trying to look forward. But doing these videos are what keep me going, because I want to have some visual progress. Now, granted, one stitch is progress. It's just harder to see. But knowing that I'm going to put it out here and I've got, a few hundred people, which is amazing to me, let me say, thank you so much, that are actually interested in the work and the pieces that I'm doing and the progress that I'm making is a huge motivator for me to keep going. When I was thinking about June and trying to figure out what the heck I was going to do, part of me is like, oh, I can start this, I can start this, I can start this. And I was like, wait a minute, I've got 15 projects, if nothing else. I know I've got at least another 10 to 15 that I can easily lay my hands on. And probably another 15 to 20 beyond that I know where they are if I excavate them out of the stash. So Lord knows I got plenty of whips. So I need to ratchet down the start-itis a little bit, which is tough to do after looking at that for a month. But I am going to try to continue to do a mix of starts and whips throughout the next few months. To be perfectly honest, as long as I'm stitching, it doesn't really matter to me. I know there's been a lot of discussion of, well, I'm a process stitcher. I'm not really I'm partially a process stitcher, but I do like to have finishes. But neither am I one that I'm only looking at the finished product. There are definite things that I like to stitch on, things that I'm not so thrilled to stitch on, and I have no qualms about abandoning whips if I'm not happy with them. A project to me, I can be influenced above my enjoyment of a project is influenced by many factors. It can be what's going on around me at the time. So as you can imagine, stressful times will put a taint on a whip in some cases. If I have interaction with a designer, that will absolutely have an impact on my enjoyment of a whip. There's one designer that I won't buy from because of a past interaction. There's one designer that I basically got rid of every design I had in my stash after a bad interaction with that designer. I basically destashed every piece that I had of hers, practically gave it away. So, I am influenced in many ways. I have a whip that I love, but a former friend, I associate that whip to me is associated with a former friend, and so it's very hard for me to even consider picking that up because that friendship ended in a very bad way. So that one I probably will get over because it's one of my very favorite designers. But it's tough. It's tough. So my enjoyment of working on something is influenced by many factors, not just the materials or, the design itself. No, it's just who I am. It's the way it is. So as looking at June, June is on Stitch Maynia. This June sale the theme is Wine and Whips. Wine, W-H-I-N-E. And the definition of wine is what you make it. It can be something that you're not thrilled to be working on for whatever reason. It can be something that you're whining because you really want it done and other things are getting in the way. It could be something that you want to start, but other things are getting in the way, right? So I've picked a couple pieces to go into my Wine and Whips month. Essentially one of each. Well, I have a third definition that I'm going to leverage as part of the wine and whip. So hold on, excuse me while I reach for this pile, my June pile. Okay, so the first piece for wine and whips is an existing whip, and it is Dragon Ride by Teresa Wentzler. It's a really bad picture. The chart was originally in the September 1999 Stitcher's World. Okay, so this is kind of ragged because I've done all kinds of stuff with it. I have since repurchased the chart. There were issues in that chart. There are mistakes in that chart. I have since repurchased it off of Patterns Online. So my first task for June is to figure out where the heck I am in relation to the new chart. This is on a 28 count. I think it's Lavender Mist Jovelin. But here's where I'm at. So quite a bit of the dragon done, right? And again, this is a Teresa Wentzler, which means 90% of this is blended threads. Now, why is it a wine? Why am I whining about this whip? Well, there's a couple reasons. Number one, the chart had errors. Oh my gosh, yeah. So task number one is to figure out where the heck I am on the new chart. Number two, when I started this, I was so smart and decided to substitute the border with using over-dyed threads instead of stitching the border using the called for threads. Well, I don't know if you can see, but I've essentially ripped all that out. So I had this outer border in like a purple ombre, like a purple. But by the time I got in all the real purples, it just didn't work. It was too overpowering. So I ripped all that out and I put in the called for golden brown. And then I also was trying to be smart and use an overdye for the knotwork. And again, by the time I got in the real golds, yeah, it didn't work. So I had the entire border done. So I'm in the process of ripping it out. So you see, I still got a little bit to rip out, and then putting in the correct golds that match the golds in the dragon. So that's the whining part. That's definitely the whining part. But I love it. This is one of my favorite Teresa dragons, and I have the rider just barely started. He's over 1. So you can see where is he? He's just right in here. The good news, he obviously, because he's over 1, he doesn't have any blended threads. So, and over 1 is nowhere near as daunting to me as it was when I first started this. I mean, I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, now it's like, yeah, whatever. Just a good Q-snap and a good light in my mag eyes, and I'm good to go. So this will be my whip for wine and whips. I hope to get the border sorted and get the rider pretty much done, because that's where a lot of the issues in the original chart is where the over 1 rider met the over 2 dragon. So if I can get like the rider's head, I'm pretty much past where the chart issues were. So but task number 1 is to figure out where the heck I am on the chart using the new Patterns Online chart. So won't happen this weekend, next weekend. So that's wine and whip. That's the whip of wine and whips. Now, I'm also going to have a new start or 2. Well, 1 new start for wine and whips, and then a couple other starts for other reasons. So this is the first wine and whip chart. Let's do wine. Now, come on. Wine. Without the H? Hey, sounds like a plan, right? So I'm going to go ahead and start this guy just on some plain 32. I think I have a piece of Belfast. So, all right. And then I'll have another new start, which I'll talk about when I get to my stash enhancement. But this last piece that'll be definitely worked on in June I have a get together at the end of June, and as part of the get together of about a dozen, there's about a dozen of us that get together. We've decided that we're gonna also, most of us, not all of us, most of us will be starting Ink Circles Tapestry. This was released this year at Nashville. So this will be a start on the last weekend of June when I am with my small gang. And I'm using the called for threads, which are all gassed. I will definitely have Thread Heaven handy on this. And then my fabric is Picture This Plush Legacy Belfast. It's out of my stash. With a nice sparkly needle minder. So that's the plan. So that'll be started on the last weekend in June at the get together. Okay, so those are I'm really hoping to get some good progress on Dragon Ride. It would be really nice to get some momentum going, because then I could see totally just keeping that as a truly active whip moving forward and working that in at least 1 or 2 weekends out of the month. It's not something that I would want to travel with. The other June plan is in California. I'm going to go back to my Frosted Pumpkin passport and try to get caught up. I'm still in the March-ish. I'm in the Netherlands. So it's going to be a challenge, but that will be my main whip in California. And I'll do capture progress pics and post them, whether it be on Instagram, AZAnnette414, or in the Wine and Whip Sal, because it's definitely a wine, because I am so freaking far behind. But my choice, I started late. So anyway, so those are the Wine and Whips. I'm not going to change that every week. Just Dragon Ride, Passport, and then the 2 new starts, of which you've seen one. Recovered. All right. So the other thing I thought I would show today is some of my other older finishes. Now, I store my completed pieces in a very, I don't want to say technical, but yeah, essentially you have a pants hanger with a tea towel, and they're all kind of here. So these are all things that I've finished over the last few years that I'm waiting for some other finish, of which I've already shown you. So you've seen the Meridian Who Bikini. Probably flat fold. I actually have some Doctor Who fabric, so this would make an awesome flat fold. So maybe I'll do that. And then the hands-on design chalk. This is March's, which I finished back in March, which I know I showed you. Now, some of the other things on here that I haven't shown is hands-on design chalk for January. This is January, which I finished last year. This is a Mill Hill Wanda's Witchery, I think. This is one of the bead and button kits. I very, very rarely do them on the paper that is provided. I usually swap out a 28 count fabric. So this was one of those. I swapped out the fabric. There's a lot of work in these suckers. This is the Samsara mystery sampler from 2014, I think. So Something Wicked. Love this piece. Unfortunately, I finished this not long before I found out that my framer was going out of business, which is why it is unframed, because I haven't found a new one yet. He was the best, too. He was the best. It was about 45-minute drive, but he did an awesome job. He was fast. He was cheap. Oh my gosh. So we mourned. I mourned. The next one is one of the other ink circles, Roll Your Own Mandalas. This was the first one that she put out. And this colorway is it's a little brighter in reality than what you're seeing on the screen. The colorway is called Monet's Garden. And it's based on the same colorway that I used for my Stars for the New Millennium by Tony Minieri, the counted canvas piece that I showed in my second or third video. I used the over dye from that piece and had the same and asked Tracy to build up the same colorway. So, and that's what was done. So I again finished it about the time I lost my framer. So, but I love it. I love it. Let's see what else is here. Oh, another Mill Hill finish. As I mentioned before, penguins are kind of a thing here, so I finished this guy on just a blue linen, mystery linen. The other animal that is very popular in the house are cows. My daughter is a cow fiend, so I finished this Jim Shore bead and button cow on, feels like a Monaco, like a glass, I think it's glass blue Monaco. So there's the cow. And that one's done. What else we got here? So this is Homespun Elegance. This is their Nativity. This is on 40 count fabric. Now, the pattern calls for 30 count fabric. So you can imagine this is a little smaller. It's quite a bit smaller. The other thing that the pattern calls for is there are 2 angel buttons that go in this area right here. They go in these little arch areas. Well, if I put those angels on here, it would look more like an angel apocalypse because they're huge. They're huge compared to the 40 count fabric. So I have elected not to put those buttons, as I'm sure you can appreciate. I would very much, my plan is to send it to Jill Rensel up in Utah for framing. She does amazing embellishment of mats as part of her framing. So what I would like to do at some point is to send it to her and ask her to put the angels on the mat itself, to add them to the piece. But I just haven't done it yet. So that's the plan. All right. I'm also a big Halloween fan, so I have a couple of Halloween finishes here. So this one is Bixby's. This is a freebie that I'm pretty sure is still available. Happy Halloween. I do not recall. This was another freebie, but I don't remember where I got it. So if you really want to know, just remind me in the comments and I can try to find it. Sorry. I have lots of these little finishes. Let's see. Anything else Halloween? Oh, this was Sampler Girl. Zombie Ball. Love this. She does a lot of great. If you're a Pride and Prejudice or Jane Austen fan, she does some great charts inspired by Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility, and a number of Emma, Persuasion. So she has a lot of Jane Austen inspired patterns. It's the Sampler Girl. She does great stuff. Oh, look, another Mill Hill. This, I think, was my very first Mill Hill bead and button kit that I did a few years ago and have just not on some raw linen. back in the days of the CAT show, which are Creative Arts, I don't remember what CATs stand for, Creative Arts Textile something. They would have shows in different places, and they had classes similar to the Celebrations of Needlework, which is a current show that happens on the East Coast. Well, CAT shows would be around, and they'd be come to the West Coast. So I've went to several in California, as well as Hershey, Pennsylvania was always the big one. I've been there a couple times. The Silver Needle always had a huge booth at these shows, and they also have a big booth at the Houston Quilt Show, which is end of October, first week in November. Huge, huge show. If you have any interest in quilting, you've got to go to the Houston Quilt Show. It's just amazing. It's absolutely amazing. But they also have other needlework stuff as well, including cross stitch. Now, not a whole lot of cross stitch, but there's some. And Silver Needle always does a big booth. Silver Needle is where I first saw the concept of stitching these bead and button designs on fabric, because that's how they do their models. They do them on a natural or blue or black linen, whatever matches the paper that's in the kit, and then they make them into pillows. So they sell not only the kits, but they sell the pre-cut pieces of linen so that you can do it right there. So I know that that's where this came from. And in fact, a lot of my Mill Hill bead and button stash originally came from Silver Needle. So great, they have tons. And in their shop, I've had the pleasure of going to their shop just once. But they have an entire wall that's nothing but the bead and button kits, and then with all the pillows made up for the models. It's amazing. So that's the last of the Halloween stuff. So a couple more. So this is a Lizzie Kate. Life's a Stitch. Just on a blue even weave of some sort. I don't remember if this is the called for. I think these are the called for colors. Maybe. I think so. I think those are called for colors for the most part. Another one. Good things come to those who stitch. This one, I think I changed some of the colors. Again, it's been a while. I think I changed some of the colors, but yeah, it's just on a even weave. Looks like a mocha even weave. Now this one is done over one on 25 or 28 count. This is a so-and-so. This was a freebie that I don't think is available anymore. It's a little sampler. And now I finished this one in... Oh, look. Well, I started it at least in 2011. I don't think I finished it. I didn't finish it in 2011. But the date was already there. I wasn't going to change it. This may be 25 count. Over one. I know this traveled to Tennessee, and I worked on it in Tennessee visiting in-laws. So that one, and then the last piece is an Ink Circles freebie, and this was my first test of the Sulky 12 weight blendable cotton. So Tracy had posted on her blog about using the Sulky thread that I'm using in my Cirque du Cirque-less. And so I bought a couple colors and did a small piece to test it out, and it worked out perfect. And then that's how I chose to start my Cirque du Cirque-less, using that 12 weight blendable Sulky. So again, just a random piece of brown even weave from the stash. So those are all of my finishes that are waiting for like real finishing. They hang in the hall closet, like I said, on the pants hanger with the tea towel covering it so that they don't get dusty, because I do live in the desert. But they're just hanging out, and as I finish two things, they go They go on the hanger. I need to find a new framer. I've got really bad luck with framers. As soon as I find one, I get it for about a year or so, and then poof, they're gone. Very frustrating. And I live in a big city, so I have lots of framing choices. Besides the Joann's, Hobby Lobbies, and Michaels, because I prefer a non-chain. I prefer like an independent shop. I just feel like I get better service. Eventually, I'll find another one. So that gives you my Maynia whip update, my plans for June, the classic finishes. I do have my chatelaine ready to go. So as soon as I finish my videos and a couple other things, I'll be able to finally pull the bow on the kit so I can get it started. The last thing is a little bit of stash enhancement. So, with stories. Alright. In the last video, I mentioned that Friday the 20th of May had been a very challenging day. You saw my baby girl, my Duchess. I also have a black miniature schnauzer named Greta who's sleeping at the end of the bed. On Friday the 20th of May, we had a third schnauzer, silver schnauzer named Nero, who had a lot of health issues, and we made the decision to go ahead and put him to sleep because, like I said, he had lots and lots of health issues, and had for quite a while, a number of years. So it was, he took more medication than the entire rest of the house combined. But he just was not a dog anymore. He was a sleeping lump that we had to give pills to. So we lost our Nero, who was the sweetest dog. So I purchased a couple of designs from 123 Stitch. The first one is the dog's leaf paw prints. I'll be starting this one this month, and I'll be adding Nero's name and dates on the bottom. The other thing that I got, I'm sorry I didn't take out the package, is the Russell double envelope, even worse. I also got Lizzie Kate, which this is one that I've been looking at for a while. I just hadn't actually broke down and bought it. Dog Lessons for People. This is so appropriate for all three of our dogs. So I got that and a piece of 32 count, just platinum linen to do it on. So this will get started eventually. We've had a number of dogs. We are a dog family. And so we've had not only the three that I just talked about, but we had two other dogs before that, Carmela and George. They were larger dogs, and they were stolen out of our backyard, but that's a whole other story. So I was actually thinking about putting start putting all of our dogs' names on the bottom, because I know that the two that we have now will not be the last two that we have. I'm sure there will be more, so it just might be nice to just keep a record. Kind of silly. So that came in. And then I've been watching Brooks Books Publishing. So Brooks Books, her Facebook page, she was posting her design of the Red Queen from her Alice in Wonderland series. Now, I like Alice in Wonderland. I love the Red Queen. And in fact, my license plate on my car is Red Queen. I do red. Red is me. Red nails, red clothes, red car. Yeah, pretty much if I have something, it's going to be red. That's always my first choice. So she posted last week she had finished it and put it up for sale. So I immediately bought it. Red Queen. I love Red Queen. She is. She just looks so haughty. I just love it. But of course, no travel should pattern. No travel should pattern alone. Oh. No pattern should travel alone, even through cyberspace. So I got the rest of the Wonderland, or the the Wonderland collection. The White Rabbit, Mad Hatter, and Alice. So all of these are here. I ordered a piece of the denim blue Joblin to do them on. I'm not going to do them on paper. So I am set. Love her. Love her. Red Queen. That's me. The other thing that came in the mail was my first month of Silks for You silks. As you may or may not know, so I got a nice sparkly needle minder, little fairy, and then 4 beautiful ombre dyed silks. Silks for You. As you may or may not know, Jo Mason was the original creator of Dinky Dye's silks. She is from Australia originally. She was living in Houston for a while, and that's where she started Dinky Dyes. She had the opportunity to move back to Australia last year, and so she sold off Dinky Dyes to someone else who's, as far as I can tell, is doing a great job. You know, I have quite a number of Dinky Dye silks because I know Jo personally. But Jo just couldn't go off into the good retirement and not do anything. So she started a new site called the Needle Arts Emporium, and it's truly the needleartsemporium.com. Needle Arts Emporium. Okay. And she started dyeing silk again. Yay. So there's now a silk. She's doing a Silk of the Month club for anywhere in the U.S. Monthly. You get four skeins of silk. I think it's $20 if I remember correctly for the 4 skeins. Plus, and that includes shipping and everything. So this has only been the first month, so it's still new. So if you like silk threads, if you like Dinky Dyes threads, this is a must. But if you like silk threads, or you are a fiber collector, or a FlossTube, as commonly referred to in Organic Grannies videos, another great FlossTuber, I highly recommend going to Jo's new site, the Needle Arts Emporium, and looking at the options for the Silks for You Club, Silk of the Month Club. And if you do, tell them Annette sent you, then it says I will receive a small gift. If you go and you don't want to, that's fine. I don't care. But Jo's silks are awesome if you have not ever had the chance to work with them. So okay, so that's it. Oh my gosh, it's been, I have no idea how long this is, so it's definitely longer than usual, I think. But lots to show. So there won't be a video this weekend. In fact, there probably won't be another one for a couple of weeks simply because of schedule. I will take some pictures and video for Comic-Con this weekend and append them to the next video so you can see who I got to spend my weekend with, which I'm very excited about. And some of the fun things that we get to see as part of con if you've never been to a Comic-Con. They're really fun if you're into are interested in pop culture, movies, TV, comic books. I mean, Phoenix does a little bit of everything. So I'm sure, and there's Comic-Cons going on every weekend of the year. So I suspect there's one near you sometime in the next few months. So get out there and indulge your inner geek and have a good time. So have a great day. Have a great Wednesday. See you soon, and stitch all the things.